My niece was the reason my marriage fell apart and now she's completely a narcissist like her mother anyhow. This is long, so let me apologize in advance, but I need to say the things I keep bottled up inside of me somewhere, anywhere. About 7 years ago my ex-husband and I had a decent marriage. It wasn't perfect, but marriage rarely is. Our kids were well behaved, we both worked, and we had our kids in activities outside of school to keep them healthy and active. We had one blimp where sex had died off for about a year, but we had talked and took an adult-only vacation and sparked that back too. My sister had moved a few years prior about 6 hours away from the family. She uprooted her kids because she needed a change after her divorce. The problem was she basically began to act like a teenager, staying out all night partying, drinking, and made her oldest child care for the younger two as well as her new friends' children too. Summer vacation approached that year and my mom asked me to go pick up my nieces and nephew for a month-long visit. We arranged for the oldest to stay with me and the younger two to stay with my mother so that the oldest would get a break. When I arrived to pick them up, my sister told me her oldest did not want to come, but she was forcing her to. For the first 2 weeks my niece cried every day. I finally approached her and told her I was sorry she didn't want to be here, but she cried harder and told me she wasn't crying because she didn't want to be here, she was crying because she didn't want to go home. My husband and I spoke about her moving in with us at 18, but she told me if she returned home she wouldn't be alive to see 18. He was very against taking her in, not because he didn't love her but because it was a financial burden to our family and a fight with my family if we did. But I believed my niece's threats and I fought. First him, then my sister and my mom. We ended up keeping my niece through tons of fights. We got very little to no help financially or emotionally, but we did the best we could by her. But it was a crack, like the kind you get in your windshield, and it just keeps getting bigger every time something small hits it. My niece got pregnant as a teen just like her mother. The crack grew. My husband and I fought about money. The crack grew more. By the time my niece moved out at 17 and back in and out again, the windshield was beyond repair. My now ex and I recently divorced, and while my niece isn't the only reason, she is absolutely the reason the windshield got weakened enough to break. Now, she's 21 and she treats me as disposable. She only calls on me when she wants something from me and often ignores my calls and texts. She told me she thought I had the perfect family and that she regretted moving in with us because she was wrong, never once thinking she was what changed the dynamic so much. To say that it hurts my feelings is an understatement. My ex and I are building a friendship again and I am thankful for him. My birthday just passed and not one member of my family acknowledged it, outside of my kids. But my ex and his stepmom both did, and I am very grateful for them. It's hard when you hear blood is thicker than water over and over to realize blood family sometimes is unhealthy for you. But I am learning. Edit. Since I see this recurring in the comments, let me say that both me and my ex-husband did everything to make my niece feel welcome and safe. We had her in therapy. When she told me she was having sex, I took her to get her on the pill. We taught her to drive and took her to soccer practice and drama club and everything else she asked to join. I don't blame my niece fully. 1, she was a child. 2, I made my choices. I could have said no. My ex-husband did say he didn't want to take her in until she was 18. But he also helped me when I begged to do it. I believe I am allowed to be frustrated at my niece for her parts, and no, I would absolutely never say any of this to her because you just do not do that to kids. Thus this ranty post on Reddit to get out some of my negative feelings. Trust me, I own my own faults, but that's a whole different post to make. From the comments, I honestly think you need therapy as much as she did. Your people-pleaser tendencies made a massive problem that may have had a different, better solution. OP, I have been in therapy for years. I absolutely acknowledge I have issues. I am not sure what a better solution would have been though, and that's a struggle. Yeah, true, except there were grandparents and others. If she was that bad, threatening to call CPS may have scared the grandparents into taking some action against their kid. But yeah, that would have triggered a war with parents, but well FM. No one wants to take responsibility, and I hope that gets remembered on the future. FYI, what did your husband think would work since he didn't want the kid? OPCPS had been called on my sister several times. Technically they wouldn't do anything because neither state she lived in had a minimum age for kids to be left alone. There were some other issues that did get them to visit and follow up, but nothing to warrant removal of the kids, and nothing to keep them active in her life. Examples of follow-ups were there were no doors on bathrooms once because my sister thought that was appropriate punishment for finding out her daughter cut herself. CPS made sure door went back up and stayed up.